Yo, what's up? It's Derek, and today we're breaking down the quietest wealth revolution nobody's paying attention to. While boomers are arguing about avocado toast and millennials are crying about student loans on TikTok, there's one generation that's been stacking cash in complete silence. I'm talking about Generation X, and their wealth playbook is insane.
Check this out. Gen X households are sitting on a median net worth of $243,000. That's 4 times what millennials have and 8 times Gen Z. But here's the crazy part. Nobody's talking about them. They're like financial ninjas. But wait, it gets better. The top 10% of Gen X, they're holding over $1.7 million in net worth. And get this, their wealth is growing faster than any other generation right now, at about 9.2% annually over the last decade.
So, how'd they do it? Let me break down their 7 secret weapons, plus the exact numbers that'll blow your mind. Listen to this. Only 38% of Gen Xers use a financial advisor. Compare that to 61% of millennials who need someone to hold their hand, and 54% of boomers who still think you need a guy in a suit to make money. Gen X said, I'm going to learn this myself, and guess what? They're averaging 7.2% annual returns over 15 years, matching professional managers, but paying zero management fees. Let me show you the math on this. If you invest $500,000 over 30 years with a 1% advisor fee, you end up with $1.16 million. Without that fee, DIY, you end up with $1.45 million. That's almost $300,000 difference just because Gen X learned to do it themselves. That's like being your own band instead of giving the record label 50%. And check out where they're putting their money. 42% in index funds and ETFs, smart. 28% in individual stocks, calculated risk. 18% in real estate, tangible assets. 12% in bonds and cash, stability. They're diversified, but not overcomplicated. They're not chasing crypto moonshots or meme stocks. They're building real wealth. Secret number 2. Battle-tested in the financial mosh pit. These folks got punched in the face by the dot-com crash in 2000. Companies with no profits were worth billions. Then boom, the Nasdaq lost 78% of its value. Gen X watched their portfolios get destroyed. The average investor lost $50,000 in paper wealth. But here's what separated them from everyone else. They learned. When 2008 rolled around and the S&P 500 dropped 57%, they had the lowest panic selling rates of any generation. Only 23% sold compared to 47% of boomers and 39% of millennials. And here's the kicker. Gen Xers who kept investing during 2008 to 2009 saw those investments grow by an average of 326% by 2020. If you put $10,000 in the market in March 2009, it was worth $42,600 by 2020. They bought when blood was in the streets. They understood that fear equals opportunity. That's legendary investor behavior right there. Plus, they learned about dollar cost averaging the hard way. During the 2000 to 2010 lost decade, Gen Xers who kept contributing monthly actually doubled their money while those who tried to time the market lost or stayed flat. Secret number 3. The home ownership advantage. Timing is everything. Now let's talk about the greatest wealth transfer opportunity in modern history, and Gen X was perfectly positioned for it. After 2008, home prices crashed by an average of 33% nationally. In some markets like Phoenix and Las Vegas, they dropped 50–60%. Gen X was in their 30s and early 40s, prime earning years with decent savings, and they pounced. Between 2009 and 2013, Gen X bought homes at massive discounts with mortgage rates at historic lows. We're talking 3.5% to 4.5%.
Here's the money shot. A Gen Xer who bought a $200,000 home in 2010 in a major metro area now owns a property worth approximately $450,000 to $500,000. That's $250,000 to $300,000 in equity appreciation. And because they locked in those low rates, their monthly payment is lower than what renters are paying now. The home ownership rate for Gen X is 69%, higher than millennials at 48% and catching up to boomers at 78%. And get this, 24% of Gen X owns multiple properties. They're not just living in these homes, they're using them as wealth-building machines. Here's where it gets spicy. 34% of Gen X workers have multiple income sources. But let's break down what that actually means in dollars. The average Gen Xer with multiple income streams is bringing in primary job $75,000 to $95,000 annually, side business or consulting $18,000 to $35,000 annually, rental property income $12,000 to $24,000 annually, investment dividends $8,000 to $15,000 annually. That's a total of $113,000 to $169,000 per year. But here's the genius part. They structured it so if one disappears, they still have 3 income sources. Compare that to the single-income household making $120,000. If that job disappears, they go to 0 overnight. Gen X built financial redundancy. It's like having backup generators for your backup generators. Real example. I know a Gen Xer who works in corporate IT making $85K, runs a weekend photography business making $25K, rents out their basement apartment for $1,500 a month, $18K annually, and gets about $12K in dividend income. That's $140,000 with 4 different safety nets. And here's what's crazy. 68% of Gen X says they started their side income sources not for extra money, but for security after watching their parents get laid off in the 80s and 90s. They learned early, never put all your eggs in one basket. Secret number 5, stealth wealth, the anti-flex strategy. This is my favorite part, and I've got the data to prove how powerful this is. Gen X is the least likely generation to post their wins on social media. Only 12% of Gen Xers share financial achievements online, compared to 47% of millennials and 63% of Gen Z. And check this out. Research shows that Gen X drives cars that are on average 11.4 years old. Boomers, 9.1 years. Millennials, 8.3 years. Gen Z, 6.7 years. But here's the twist. Gen X has the highest investment account balances. Real numbers. The average Gen Xer drives a car worth $80,000 to $15,000, but has $180,000 to $350,000 in investment accounts. Meanwhile, millennials are driving $35,000 cars with $45,000 in retirement savings. Gen Z is driving $28,000 cars with $8,000 in savings. Let me show you the power of this strategy. If you take the difference between a new $45,000 car and a reliable $12,000 used car, that's $33,000. Invest that money at 8% annual returns, and in 20 years, that one decision is worth $153,000. They figured out the cheat code. Every dollar you don't spend flexing is a dollar that grows. Gen X invented what financial experts now call quiet luxury, buying quality that lasts but avoiding logos and status symbols. They'll spend $150 on a quality jacket that lasts 10 years, but won't spend $800 on a designer jacket with a logo. Secret 6. Good debt versus bad debt. Know the difference. Gen X has a simple rule. Debt is only for appreciating assets or income generation. Everything else? Cash. Let me break down their debt profile. Average Gen X household debt. Mortgage debt, $182,000 at 3 to 4% interest. Auto loans, $4,200. They pay cash or pay off quickly. Credit card debt, $6,900, lowest among employed generations. Student loans, $31,000, many paid off already. Compare that to millennials. Mortgage, $225,000 at 6 to 7% interest inc. Auto loans, $22,000. New cars on credit. Credit card debt, $8,200. Student loans, $58,000. Crushing. Here's what this means in real dollars. A Gen Xer with a $200,000 mortgage at 3.5% over 30 years pays $123,000 in interest. A millennial with the same mortgage at 7%, they pay $279,000 in interest. That's a $156,000 difference just in mortgage interest. But here's where Gen X gets genius. They leverage 3% mortgages to buy properties that appreciate 7% per year. That's a 4% arbitrage spread. Let's do the math. Borrow $200,000 at 3%. Costs $6,000 per year in interest. Property appreciates at 7%. Gains $14,000 per year in value. Net gain, $8,000 per year using other people's money. That's why 24% of Gen X owns multiple properties. They understand that strategic debt is a wealth multiplier. They're not buying couches on credit. They're leveraging low-interest mortgages to build seven-figure real estate portfolios.
Secret number 7, the 401k maximizers. Here's a secret weapon Gen X deployed that's crushing it. They're the 401k generation, and they used it perfectly. Gen X was the first generation to have 401ks their entire career. And check out these numbers. Average 401k balance by age, Gen X, ages 45 to 49, $148,000. Ages 50 to 54, $196,000. Ages 55 to 59, $232,000. But the top 25% of Gen X savers, they have $500,000 to $700,000 already. Here's how they did it. 68% of Gen X maxes out their employer match, that's free money, and 31% contribute the IRS maximum, $22,500 in 2023, $30,000 if over 50 with catch-up contributions. Let me show you the power of this. Start at age 25. Contribute $6,000 a year with $3,000 employer match. That's $9,000 a year at 8% returns. By age 55, 30 years later, $1.02 million. And here's the advanced move. 23% of Gen X is now doing Roth conversions during market dips. They're paying taxes now at lower rates and setting up tax-free income in retirement. This is galaxy brain level financial planning. The boring magic. Consistency beats timing. Now here's the unsexy truth that nobody wants to hear, but it's the most important part. A Gen Xer who invested just $500 a month starting in 1998 in a boring S&P 500 index fund, they put in $156,000 total over 26 years. Today, that's worth approximately $520,000. But let's break this down year by year to show you the power of consistency. Investment growth timeline. Year 5, 2003, $36,000 invested, worth $38,000. Tech crash. Year 10, 2008, $66,000 invested, worth $75,000. Still building. Year 15, 2013, $96,000 invested, worth $168,000. Compounding kicks in. Year 20, 2018, $126,000 invested, worth $312,000. Getting serious. Year 26, 2024, $156,000 invested, worth $520,000. Wealth. Look at those early years. After 5 years, they only made $2,000 profit. Most people would have quit, but Gen X kept showing up. They invested through the dot-com crash, minus 78%, September 11th attacks, the 2008 financial crisis, minus 57%, the 2011 debt ceiling crisis, the 2020 pandemic crash, minus 34%, the 2022 inflation crisis. Every time the market crashed, they kept investing. They understood that consistency beats timing every single time. Studies show that if you missed just the 10 best days in the market over those 26 years, your $520,000 would only be $260,000. If you missed the 20 best days, only $165,000. Gen X learned time in the market beats timing the market.
Bonus secret: the information advantage. Here's something people don't talk about. Gen X had a unique information advantage. They grew up without the internet, so they learned to do deep research. They'd go to libraries, read actual books, attend seminars. Then the internet arrived when they were adults, so they got access to unlimited information, but with the critical thinking skills to filter it. They don't fall for get-rich-quick schemes, crypto pump and dumps, MLM scams, and gurus selling courses. Only 8% of Gen X has been victim to financial scams compared to 23% of millennials and 31% of Gen Z. They have what psychologists call healthy skepticism. They verify everything.
The generational comparison, the full picture. Let's put it all together and see how Gen X stacks up. Net worth, median. Silent generation, $264,000. Boomers, $206,000. Gen X, $243,000. Crown. Millennials, $63,000. Gen Z, $31,000. Home ownership rate. Boomers, 78%. Gen X, 69%. Millennials, 48%. Gen Z, 29%. Retirement savings, average. Boomers, $178,000. Gen X, $196,000. Crown. Millennials, $62,000. Gen Z, $18,000. Debt-to-income ratio. Boomers, 43%. Gen X, 38%. Crown. Millennials, 52%. Gen Z, 48%. Financial literacy score out of 100. Boomers, 72. Gen X, 78. Crown. Millennials, 68. Gen Z, 61. Gen X is winning in almost every category, and they're doing it quietly. All right, so we've covered a ton of data. Let me give you the exact action plan to implement Gen X strategies starting today. The 7-step Gen X wealth blueprint. Step 1. Educate yourself. Month 1. Read 2 investing books. I recommend The Simple Path to Wealth and The Millionaire Next Door. Open a brokerage account. Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. Learn about index funds and ETFs. Cost, $40 in books. Time, 10 hours. Step 2. Automate your investments. Month 2. Set up automatic transfers of at least 15% of your income. Max out your 401k employer match. Free money. Open a Roth IRA and contribute monthly. Target $500 to $1,000 a month automated. Step 3. Build multiple income streams. Months 3 to 6. Identify skills you can monetize. Start a side business or consulting gig. Research rental property markets. Goal: add $1,000 to $2,000 a month in secondary income. Step 4. Eliminate bad debt. Months 6 to 12. Pay off credit cards. 18% interest is killing you. Pay off auto loans. Keep only mortgage and strategic business debt. Target $0 consumer debt by month 12. Step 5. Practice stealth wealth. Ongoing. Drive a reliable 5 to 10-year-old car. Save $400 a month. Stop buying status symbols. Invest the difference. Savings, $800 to $1,500 a month. Step 6, buy assets, not liabilities. Years 2 to 3. Save for rental property down payment. Invest in dividend-paying stocks. Buy quality that lasts. Goal, acquire one income-producing asset per year. Step 7, stay consistent. Years 4 to 30. Invest through every market crash. Never panic sell. Increase contributions by 10% every year. Result, millionaire status in 20 to 25 years.
If you follow this plan starting at age 30 with $1,000 a month invested at 8% returns, age 40, $183,000, age 50, $573,000, age 55, $880,000, age 60, $1.38 million.
And that's just with your investments. Add in home equity, side business value, and other assets, you could be sitting on $2 to $3 million by retirement. Look, I gotta be real with you for a second. Gen X didn't have it easier. They had multiple recessions, stagnant wages, corporate downsizing, 9/11, the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, and a pandemic. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't make excuses. They didn't say the system's rigged and give up. They didn't blame boomers for everything. They didn't wait for a government bailout. They educated themselves, adapted, diversified, and played the long game. And here's the part that's going to hurt. The strategies Gen X used are still available to you right now. Index funds? Still there. Dollar cost averaging? Still works. Multiple income streams? Still possible. Living below your means? Still the foundation. The difference is time. Every year you wait is a year of compound growth you lose. A 25-year-old who starts investing $500 a month will have $1.86 million at age 65. A 35-year-old who starts the same, only $745,000. That 10-year delay cost them $1.1 million. The choice is yours. Listen, your financial future isn't an accident. It's not luck. It's not about being born at the right time. It's about decisions. It's about patterns. It's about discipline. You've got two paths. Path 1, keep doing what you're doing. Keep flexing on social media. Keep buying stuff you don't need to impress people you don't like. Keep making excuses. And in 30 years, you'll be exactly where you are now or worse. Path 2, adopt the Gen X playbook. Live below your means, invest consistently, build multiple income streams, ignore the noise. And in 30 years, you'll be a millionaire living life on your terms. The clock is ticking right now. Every day you delay is money you're losing. But here's the good news. If you start today, you're already ahead of 80% of people. So, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna keep scrolling TikTok looking for the secret? Or are you gonna implement these proven strategies that have created millions of wealthy Gen Xers? The information's here. The tools are available. The only question is, are you willing to do the work? If this video fired you up, smash that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next wealth building strategy. Drop a comment right now telling me 1. Which Gen X strategy are you implementing first? 2. What's your current net worth goal? 3. What's holding you back from starting? And remember, we're building a community of rockstar investors here. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Now get out there and invest like a rock star. Let's build wealth together. Peace.